evening, all. Ira Epstein with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Tuesday, the 27th of December, 2022 in the evening. All right, let's talk a little bit. There's a market here that's getting annihilated. It's Tesla. And it just seems that it's never ending. Obviously, the market is not happy with Mr. Musk in many of the manners of buying Twitter, turning his attention away. And then I'm of the opinion that, I'm a car freak. And every day I get articles on cars. Folks, there are so many electric cars coming at you and so many choices. You can't believe it. That's in America. You have no idea what's going on in China in terms of how many new companies there are that are putting these cars on the road, and they're quite nice looking cars. A lot of those will be exported to Europe eventually with our standards. Some will get here. We have really rough standards compared to many spots in the world, as you know. I love Europe because I go there and I see cars drive. They'd never allow them here. What about the old three-wheel Morgans and that? Oh, so much fun. But you just take a look at all that and you've got to say to yourself, okay, there's problems. Now I'm reading on some breakthroughs that some of the companies are doing, and these are Chinese companies where they're taking down, NIO's just announced this, that they are taking down the charge time. There's a unit you buy, you put it in your car, it runs a couple of $1,000s, you plug it in, and instead of 10 hours charge time, it takes it down to half that amount. So the technology is going by leaps and bounds. The biggest problem we all know is you take one of these electric cars and you try to drive in the United States any real distance, 1,000 miles, you got a problem. They're wonderful around cities, but they make no sense yet because we don't have the infrastructure in many spots. People are doing it in different ways. I'm reading right now in India how they're doing swap batteries. So instead of charging, you pull into a place and they'll have 400 batteries there and you pull in, bingo, it comes right off your bike, new one's on in a minute. And away you go. You've paid your fee for a swap of battery up. That makes sense. Israel's been doing that in cars for a very, very long time. But you're going to see all these different philosophies, how it works, the best way to do it. The problem, though, is you're taking down Netflix. You took down Tesla. You're taking down Amazon again. If you look behind me, ARK is at a new low. 119. I mean, you're talking numbers here that are taking some of these stocks down 70% this year. Would you have thought Tesla could lose that kind of money? I don't think you did. Apple, nobody gives up on Apple. All I keep hearing on TV, how great Apple is. Give it 2 or 3 years, you're going to want to own it over Tesla and all this. This was the theme of the day, okay? Everybody's talking. So we should invest now to lose, and eventually it's going to come back. Remember what I told you? There's a difference between trading and investing. I am not equipped in any manner to say that buying at $130 Apple won't be good. I'm also a guy that's telling you right now that most of you did not think in January of last year, when we started this year out, that Tesla would drop 70%. You would tell me what a great investment is. Is it still a great investment? When the market goes against you, not everything's a great investment. Just take a look at what has happened. This is recent, but you're just down 11% today. This market has come unglued. This is a market that was just recently $400. You're now down to 109. You've lost 70% of your value approximately this year in the stock. It's punishing the heck out of people. It's taking down its PE ratio to the real world. That's what's going on. I was going to do a chart of the PE on this. And there's a service. You can go online, by the way. You can type in chart PE of Tesla, and you will see what it did and the numbers it's come from and how it's come back to Earth. Once these things come back to Earth, they don't go back into the stratosphere that way. It's not going to get a PE where all of a sudden it's 500, 1,000, whatever the numbers were, crazy moments. That doesn't occur. Not in my experience. Can it? Anything can happen, I guess, but it typically doesn't. When I take a look, this chart's been in a bearish configuration for a long time. When you get the short-term average, which is the 18 under the 100 and the 100's under the 200, it's a bearish crossover. And I know people didn't believe me when I said it there. And I said, you generally go and then you make new lows. Well, it's been making new lows. It's no sign of it letting up. It's got what's called the gorilla glue trade. You've heard me say this before. Let me teach you what it is. It's when a market latches onto the Bollinger Band, and instead of staying under it or just over it, it stays right by it. One day it'll be under, next day over. And it just keeps pulling it down. As that occurs, the weight of it will pull the slow stochastic and force it to embed. So now it starts feeding on itself. What happens is you don't even let the shorts get in new ones. Do you have a higher high day in any of this? This is classic how they catch traders. And if you don't understand to look at it and understand when I tell you you've got that gorilla glue trade, fine, do it on your own. You can get that to the upside or the downside. You don't know where it's going to end. It just feeds on itself until it ends. And you know that you're into a correction when you lose the embedded reading, which you're nowhere near, let me come back there, which you're nowhere near ready to do. Look at how the battery and lithium ETF has been doing. It's the gorilla glue trade, same thing. All the auto stocks are. Have you looked at Rivian? It's the same thing. Apple, tell me that this is good. Everybody's in love with Apple. But, you know, this is a stock that was just $150. It just lost roughly $25. So it's taken a chunk, but it was a lot higher than that earlier this year. The tech sector has taken it on the chin, and I did my job here. My job was, I told you, if you can't sell those iPhones, I don't care what they tell you, you're going to not get the sales at Christmas. If you don't get the sales at Christmas, what's got to happen is this quarter can't end up as good as it should have happened. The companies, not just Apple, the companies will come out, and the CEO's jobs are going to be to do what? They're going to take the low road, not the high road. They're going to go, oh, this is not good. We don't know when all this terrible is going to end, blah, blah, because they don't want to tell you things are getting better. They'd rather we have a bullish surprise. The market has been stronger than we thought it would. Well, that'll happen here when they can get their phones out, but they're not there. Disney, Avatar's not got the legs that the market was hoping. Are you looking at AMC? The CEO has asked the board to not give him a raise. He only makes $20 million a year. He doesn't want the raise. I'm laughing at this. As the company's on, to me, on the verge of bankruptcy, you got a $4 stock here. It was $32 this summer, and one guy, I'm not beating my brows or anything, I told you, this is a sucker game. Why would you guys buy this? This is all mirrors. It doesn't make any sense. And then people are buying the ape part of it in big ways. They have that other stock that is soared. And if you understand how they do in the conversion that's going to come in, what they're doing. The next thing you will hear on AMC will be they're going to do a reverse stock split. It's the logical thing. They wanted to get it away from a $3, $4 stock. In XLF, you've got to bounce into the resistance, but you lost the reading here of the embedded reading. And you've gone to the next key averages. So you've made your run. The next leg, unless you move up here, if you start down again, you could re-embed again. So you got to be careful. It does not have to go to the 18-day average of closes. The other averages were where it should have gone. Oversold condition in XLI, the industrial sector. All right. You know, we're in the midst right now in America of our own wave, you know that, of COVID, RSV, and the flu. Is it as bad as what China's experiencing? Of course not. But it's not good either. And if you look at children's hospitals in your own area, wherever you go, they're full. And it's a sad thing, but that's what we're dealing with. But people here get vaccinated. People here get the flu shots and so on. Those that don't, the flu's deadly. You lose a lot of people every year in the flu season in America. People don't believe in getting it. It's their right. What can you say? The semiconductors continue to fall down. Now, The car semiconductor problem is different than the semiconductor problem. For the car semiconductors, a special type of chip, and they're just in shortage everywhere. When you go to the regular ones that operate your toaster and other things, that's different, and that's what's happening here. And you're in your shakeout of all these different companies. In the home builders, well, there's big pent-up demand. Today I was watching the Case-Shiller numbers. I hope you were. And month over month, the values are falling. You were down 0.8% today. All right, so that's pretty good. But year over year, year over year, the same time versus a year ago, you're up 8.6%. That's still a big gain overall. The energy sector, China's open. Why would you think it's not going to be friendly? I mean, the one thing they'll do is they're going to keep buying from Russia. They'll buy all the cheap oil they can, and they're good friends, the Saudis. The Saudis will get a certain price. Russia won't get that price. That's just how it's going to work. But they'll keep their lines open for what they have to do. And then they have to spend money to jumpstart their economy after 2 years of COVID, and they will do it. In gold's the inflation commodity, so it jumped up rather smartly today, right into the Bollinger Band. Raise your hand out there if you took the enhanced Bollinger Band course. Come on. Tell me that you didn't know exactly what to do there when it hit that number. I can go into silver. I'm looking for it to hit there, and traders will be coming out, in my opinion. Copper. I was telling traders today, I said the one market that is your canary in the mine is copper. Now, copper soared today in futures. I'm looking at it, went right to the Bollinger top, gave up 10 cents. Take a look at the chart. You'll be surprised. TLT still looking bearish. I do not buy into this thing that the Fed's going to blink, and that means you have to start buying in December for when they're going to blink, that you think in October or November of next year. And the market's going to discount that. You have a ways to go before you're through that. That does not mean we're going back to the old highs and rates, or does it? Well, you're probably going to that number or higher in the very short term. And I'm talking the short term, everything under 2 years. Long term, maybe not, all right, because the market will anticipate a lot of weakness, and you don't need high interest rates back there, and it functions it out, if you will. The dollar, too oversold, in my opinion, to play with the short side. You're now in a downtrend in the swing line, but upside bias in FXE. A lot of resistance here at 98.65. So you put it all together, you're trying to come up with game plans back and forth as to what to do, and it's hard. The airline stocks, as you know, taking it on the chin today. Even Rivian down $1.40. I mean, I just look at these. It's quite a bit of blood on the street, no matter how you look at it. And for most stock portfolios, certainly not a good time. But that's where I try to come in. And I try to come in as a trader, not for an investor. That is not what I do. If you're somebody looking to start your day off first thing in the morning, you go, hey, what are the markets doing? What's the news of the day? Where are we? And you want somebody that opens up a chart, shows you why they're saying what they see in the chart. That's me. That's exactly what I do. I look at the chart, review it with you. You're seeing it right in the video as I'm doing it. What I'm seeing, sometimes I'll go from daily back to weekly and make my point with what I'm seeing in the chart. Here's where you enter, here's the stop, or the way that you play a stop, and here's the objective on the trade. Putting it together as a game plan. I started off in the futures. Yeah, futures. Because when you're trading, what do you think you're trading in QQQ, DIA, GLD? You're trading futures contracts, folks. They've just named it something. It's all based. That's what they're trading underneath it to get it going. And we'll work on that together. And then the individual stocks as well. And I cover a lot of them. Now it's Tesla, what I'm doing right now for a lot of my traders. So I'll put it together. We try to come up with something for you. And I think that's how you try to get about it. So how do you do this? Well, you go to our website at www.iraepstein.com under research, or you can just take your cursor, move it right up here. And what will happen is an icon will appear. Give it a click. It'll take you right to the area to explain everything. I'm Ira. You have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.